उनको हाथ पकड़ के ले जाइए, बिठा दीजिए कहीं और जूते वगैरह खोल दीजिए। G20 की मेजबानी पूरा देश मेजबान है, लेकिन ज्यादा से ज्यादा जिम्मेवारी मेरे दिल्ली के भाइयों बहनों की है, मेरे दिल्ली के नागरिकों की है। और इसलिए देश की साख पर रत्ती भर भी आंच न आए, ये हमारे दिल्ली को करके दिखाना है। देश की आन बान शान का झंडा ऊंचा करने का सौभाग्य मेरे दिल्ली के भाइयों बहनों के पास है। और इतनी बड़ी मात्रा में विश्व से मेहमान आते हैं तो असुविधा तो होती ही होती है। अपने घर में भी अगर 5-7 मेहमान आ जाए तो घर के लोग मुख्य सोफा पे नहीं बैठते, अगल वाली छोटी सी चेयर पर बैठ जाते हैं, क्योंकि मेहमान को जगह देते हैं। हमारे यहां भी अतिथि देवो भव के हमारे संस्कार है। हमारी तरफ से जितना ज्यादा मान सम्मान स्वागत हम दुनिया को देंगे, वो सम्मान अपना बढ़ाने वाले हैं, हमारा गौरव बढ़ाने वाले हैं, हमारी साख बढ़ाने वाले हैं। और इसलिए सितंबर में 5 तारीख से लेकर के 15 तारीख तक बहुत सारी गतिविधियां यहां रहेगी। मैं दिल्ली वासियों से आने वाले दिनों में जो असुविधा होने वाली है उसकी क्षमा यात्रा आज ही कर लेता हूं। और मैं उनसे आग्रह करता हूं, ये मेहमान हम सबके हैं, हमें थोड़ी तकलीफ होगी, थोड़ी असुविधा होगी, ट्रैफिक की सारी व्यवस्थाएं बदल जाएगी, बहुत जगह पे हमें जाने से रोका जाएगा, लेकिन कुछ चीजें आवश्यक होती है। और हम तो जानते हैं, परिवार में अगर शादी भी होती है ना, तो घर के हर लोग कहते हैं अगर नाखून काटते समय थोड़ा सा अगर खून निकल गया हो तो भी लोग, अरे भाई संभालो, घर में अवसर है, कुछ चोट नहीं लगनी चाहिए, कुछ बुरा नहीं होना चाहिए। तो ये अपना बड़ा अवसर है। एक परिवार के नाते ये सारे मेहमान हमारे हैं। हम सबके प्रयासों से ये हमारा G20 समिट शानदार हो, रंग बिरंगा हो, हमारा पूरा दिल्ली रंग राग से भरा हुआ हो। ये काम दिल्ली के मेरे नागरिक भाई बहन करके दिखाएंगे, ये मेरा पूरा विश्वास है। मेरे प्यारे भाइयों बहनों, मेरे परिवारजनों, कुछ ही दिन के बाद रक्षाबंधन का पर्व आ रहा है। बहन भाई को राखी बांधती है और हम तो कहते आए हैं चांदा मामा, बचपन से ही पढ़ाया जाता है चांदा मामा। हमें बचपन से सिखाया जाता है धरती माँ, धरती माँ है, चांदा मामा है। मतलब कि हमारी धरती माँ चांदा मामा की बहन है। और इस राखी का त्योहार ये धरती माँ ये ल्यूनर को राखी के रूप में भेज करके चंदा मामा के साथ राखी का त्योहार मनाने जा रही है। और इसलिए हम भी ऐसा राखी का शानदार त्योहार मनाएं, ऐसा भाईचारा का, ऐसा बंधुत्व का, ऐसा प्यार का वातावरण बनाएं कि G20 समिट में भी चारों तरफ ये बंधुत्व, ये भाईचारा, ये प्यार, ये हमारी संस्कृति, हमारी परंपरा का दुनिया को परिचय कराएं। मुझे विश्वास है कि आने वाले त्योहार शानदार होंगे और सितंबर महीना हमारे लिए अनेक रूप से विश्व में फिर से एक बार, इस बार वैज्ञानिकों ने चंद्रयान की सफलता से जो झंडा गाड़ा है, हम दिल्ली वासी G20 की मेहमान नवाजी अद्भुत करके उस झंडे को नए ताकत दे देंगे, ऐसा मेरा पूरा विश्वास है। मेरी आप सबको इस इतनी धूप में यहां आकर के इस हमारे वैज्ञानिकों के महोत्सव को सामूहिक रूप से मनाने के लिए, तिरंगे को लहराने के लिए बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं, बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। मेरे साथ बोलिए, भारत माता की, भारत माता की, भारत माता की। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi there. You just in fact heard from the Prime Minister, who has received a grand and a very warm welcome in Delhi, as he did earlier this morning in Bengaluru, where he just in fact reached directly from Greece, where he was in fact for a one-day meeting in fact in Greece. And right now the Prime Minister is back in Delhi. Early this morning also he felicitated ISRO scientists, the men and women behind the Chandrayaan-3 mission. With that report, it's time for a quick commercial break, and news continues right here on India Today.
You are watching India Today.
There's never been a G20 presidency like this. I have covered several G20 events, traveled for those, and we've kind of set a new bar with all the dhol and the tamasha and the serious work that we have done. The fact that we will have this event happen here also provides for an opportunity where people are able to talk freely and generate ideas, which is what precisely this entire event is going to be all about.
Quality today. In Delhi, 112. In Mumbai, 24. In Kolkata, 71. In Bangalore, 37. In Chennai, 37. In Hyderabad, 73.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
You are watching India Today.
Hello, very good afternoon. You're watching India Today TV. I'm Sneha Mordani. Let's get started with the headlines in this edition first. Prime Minister Modi names the lander Vikram's landing spot on the moon Shiv Shakti point. Says crash landing spot of Chandrayaan-2 is going to be called the Tiranga point.
जिस स्थान पर चंद्रयान 3 का मून लैंडर उतरा है, अब उस पॉइंट को शिव शक्ति के नाम से जाना जाएगा।
Prime Minister Modi gets emotional as he lauded the ISRO heroes, chokes while praising the monumental feat, says 23rd of August will now be the National Space Day.
सैल्यूट आपके परिश्रम को, सैल्यूट आपके धैर्य को, सैल्यूट आपकी लगन को, सैल्यूट आपकी जीवटता को, सैल्यूट आपके जज्बे को।
Complaint filed against UP hate-monger teacher after she asked students to hit Muslim classmate. Victim student claims he was beaten for 1 hour. Luxury car smashes into an oil tanker. Tanker driver and his assistant killed. Tobacco tycoon Vivek Malu under the scanner, but businessman's lawyer says he can't even drive. Nine killed as coach of a train catches fire in Madurai. Passengers sneak gas cylinders inside the train coach. A top story at this hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who was in Bengaluru to meet and greet ISRO scientists, announced new names for Chandrayaan landing spots. The spot where the moon lander of Chandrayaan 3 landed will now be known as the Shiv Shakti point. Explaining the rationale, the Prime Minister said Shiv stood for the resolve for the welfare of humanity, and Shakti stood to strengthen that resolve. The Prime Minister also named the spot on the moon where Chandrayaan 2 left its imprints as the Tiranga point. Says they plan to name both the spots after the success of Chandrayaan 3 instead of naming the spot back in 2019.
जिस स्थान पर चंद्रयान 3 का मून लैंडर उतरा है, अब उस पॉइंट को शिव शक्ति के नाम से जाना जाएगा। शिव में मानवता के कल्याण का संकल्प समाहित है और शक्ति से हमें उन संकल्पों को पूरा करने का सामर्थ्य मिलता है। चंद्रमा का शिव शक्ति पॉइंट हिमालय से कन्याकुमारी से जुड़े होने का बोध कराता है। जब चंद्रयान 2 चंद्रमा के पास तक पहुंचा था, जहां उसके पदचिन्ह पड़े थे, तब ये प्रस्ताव था कि उस स्थान का नाम तय किया जाए। लेकिन उन परिस्थितियों में निर्णय लेने के स्थान पर हमने प्रण लिया कि जब चंद्रयान 3 सफलतापूर्वक चांद पर पहुंचेगा, तब हम दोनों पॉइंट का नाम एक साथ रखेंगे। और आज मुझे लगता है कि जब हर घर तिरंगा है, जब हर मन तिरंगा है और चांद पर भी तिरंगा है, तो तिरंगा के सिवाय चंद्रयान 2 से जुड़े उस स्थान को और क्या नाम दिया जा सकता है। इसलिए चंद्रमा के जिस स्थान पर चंद्रयान 2 ने अपने पदचिन्ह छोड़े हैं, वो पॉइंट अब तिरंगा कहलाएगा।
And joining us right now on the feat that India has achieved by sending Chandrayaan-3 to the South Pole or the dark side of the moon where nobody has gone before is Thomas Hansueli, Swiss-American astrophysicist. From October 2016 until the end of 2022, you in fact were the longest continually running associate administrator for the Science Mission Directorate at NASA, and it's a pleasure having you on the show, on the channel. I want to begin by asking you, how do you see this huge development that India is celebrating? You know, we are all beaming with pride with the fact that India has sent a mission to the moon, and that too to the dark side of the moon, South Pole, where really no one has gone before.
Well, I'm so glad to be here, and I just can tell you how excited I have been, and so many of the space community have been, and just proud of India and excited about that amazing success, not just for India, but for all of humanity. It's so many firsts, and it's particularly exciting to see the engagement of the Prime Minister here. I wished I spoke more languages than I do, but I watched some of the movie screen, even just online recently. Just congratulations to Israel, to India for this amazing success.
Everybody has been talking about what ISRO wants to achieve, or what this mission is going to try and achieve in the next few weeks and months to come. But there has just been so much conversation about the very fact that this was a very cost-effective mission, and that the analogy with movies, for example, have been drawn, like Interstellar, for example. What do you have to say about the way India has managed this in terms of the kind of challenges, the shoestring budgets, and the cost that was involved in sending this mission to the moon?
Well, it's obviously a record low cost, right? If you look at the cost of a mission like that, if NASA did it, if the European Space Agency did it, or other players, it would be perhaps a factor of 10 higher in many of the areas. And so you look at this, what it tells you, of course, is just the amazing success that happens when international communities come together. A large fraction of this, of course, is the dedication of the individuals that work on these landers, and the dedication they bring to the table. I've met a number of those, and they're really, very, very good. And, what I love about them is they came through the defeat, the kind of lack of success in the attempted last landing, and did this amazing success for the whole world to see. So for me, that is, besides the prize, really one of those things that distinguishes this team from others who try once and never try again.
What has been that one thing that you think worked for ISRO this time around? Of course, there was just so much disappointment when Chandrayaan-2 crash landed on the moon's surface. But this time around, not just we did soft land on the surface of the moon, which makes us the 4th country in the world to do so, but also we went to the South Pole. So what is it that worked for ISRO, in your opinion?
So I just want to tell you, it started at the very top. I intently observed how the Prime Minister dealt with the lack of successful landing the last time. And you remember how we went and hugged the ISRO director. And that just tells you, and told him, let's try again, right? That attitude is the attitude that is shown here. I think what happened then is that people really looked at the lessons learned and really included everything that went wrong. I mean, frankly, the landing that they did, it's not just the soft landing. You should look at the accuracy. I think the accuracy is about 10 times, even 50 times in some of the factors better than was needed. And they really worked hard to learn from the lessons from that lander, worked really, really hard and exceeded by a lot. So they didn't just achieve, they exceeded all their goals. And again, the whole country, the whole world should be proud of that team.
My last question to you, sir, has got to do with something that I also asked Professor K. Sivan, since you also mentioned him about Chandrayaan-2 and how upset that mission at the end of the day got him those pictures went completely viral when the Prime Minister hugged him, and it was a very emotional moment, not just for the two of them, but for all of us. I asked him a few days ago when I did interview him about what are you expecting to find, because we all know that there is a lot of speculation about the dark side of the moon, the sun rays not getting there. Perhaps ice is there on the dark side of the moon, but he said we are hoping and thinking that there would be something new. What is it that is being anticipated? What is that secret that everybody is not in fact talking about right now, and what are your expectations from the findings when the data is beamed back to India in just a few days from now?
So I agree with him that this is a very unobserved, very new place of the moon. So kind of imagine landing on a new celestial body and just saying, hey, what's happening here? The area of the southern part of the moon, especially in the craters that do not see the sunlight, contain, we know from orbital observations, contain water, probably water ice in some areas, but also contain very old gases. So kind of looking at those really will tell us not only about the utility of that ice for future explorations, and of course we're dreaming already about astronauts being on the surface of the moon, including Indian astronauts being there in a few years, right? But also about the story of the moon and its relationship to the Earth. How many impacts of comets did occur? Is that water there part of the same water that's in our oceans today? Or is it water that came from space, from the sun, or from comets from the outer side of the solar system? Remember, this question is a question that is new. When we were there at the last time on the surface of the moon, we did not know about these new components that really fly in the face of the status quo that we thought is the moon. It is not. It's a new body, and India is going to discover it now.
All right. Thomas Anseli, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for your perspective on that very important story that we, not just in India, but the world is looking at very, very closely. Remember, in the next few days or so, 14 days, when the information is beamed back here to ISRO headquarters in Bengaluru, scientists are in fact going to analyze the raw data over weeks and months is what is expected, then to give a sense or get really a sense of what really is the dark side of the moon and what are in fact the secrets that we've been talking about as far as the south pole of the moon is concerned. Meanwhile, talking about Chandrayaan-3, there is politics that has erupted over the naming of the lunar landing spots. BJP is hit out at UPA for naming Chandrayaan-1 impact spot as Jawahar Point, underscoring the fact that today the Prime Minister said the Chandrayaan-2 spot is going to be called the Tiranga Point, and Chandrayaan-3 spot where the Vikram lander essentially landed, there was a soft landing on the lunar surface, that spot is going to be called the Shiva Shakti Point. Congress has said that the Jawahar Point, naming of the Jawahar Point is only apt given Nehru's contribution to India's space program and how immense that was, accusing the Prime Minister of doing politics on this.
This is the difference between Congress and Prime Minister Modi. Congress puts family first, Prime Minister puts India first. And therefore today, we have all learned with great pride that the impact point, the touch point of Chandrayaan-2 and Chandrayaan-3 on the moon would be called Tiranga Point, and where the Vikram lander landed on the south side of the moon for the first time by Chandrayaan-3 will be called as a Shiv Shakti Point. Both represent India's great cultural values and heritage. But what did the UPA at the time of Congress party-led government name the point as? They named it as Jawahar Point. That is the difference in the mindset.
You know, it is laughable. How can, who has given this right to Narendra Modi ji to make any namikaran at the surface of a moon? It is laughable. The entire world will laugh. We have landed. It is very good. We are proud of it, no doubt in it. But it is. I don't think that we are not the owner of moon. We are not the owner of that point, because Bharatiya Janata Party is in habit to do all this. Since they have come in power, they have